Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Critics slam JP leader promises as insufficient. Jamaica continues to see a reduction in crime. And later in sports, Sunshine Girls to face England in the third game of Vitality Series. Thank you for joining us. I'm Shamela Pullen. Here are the details. More reactions to the announcements made by Prime Minister Andrew Holness at Sunday's JLP conference. Political commentator Damian Gordon and opposition spokesman on finance Julian Robinson have been weighing in on the conference. Karen Simpson reports.
Political commentator Damian Gordon says Mr. Holness's speech may not be enough to address the growing dissatisfaction among Jamaicans. Mr. Gordon knows that many of the announced measures won't take effect until the new budget cycle begins next year, leaving Jamaicans to continue dealing with the same issues they face daily. Mr. Gordon also points out that several pressing issues directly affecting Jamaicans were not adequately addressed.
The vexing issue of the state of the road networks nationally. Corruption, security, low wages, the state of the healthcare facilities, a lack of affordable housing and rising housing costs. Those are issues that are undermines of voters, that are fueling, discontentment and frustration with government. So in any event, skepticism, I think, will remain unchanged among voters, even though supporters of the Jamaica Labour Party may have left the conference feeling more energized.
For his part, opposition spokesman on finance Julian Robinson argues that the majority of JPS customers won't significantly benefit from the announced cut in the general consumption tax on electricity.
Let's say on average your electricity bill per month is about 17,000 Jamaican dollars per month. The reduction in GCT from 15% to 7% would see a savings of roughly 700 Jamaican dollars per month, which would work out to be about being able to buy 2 patties and a box juice additionally per month. So while any reduction in the cost of living to Jamaicans is welcome, the reality is that there's not going to be a significant benefit to the majority of JPS consumers.
Mr. Robinson explains that customers consuming less than 150 kilowatt hours of electricity per month won't benefit, as the government had already removed GCT for customers in that bracket. Instead, the measure will primarily help large JPS customers.
The larger the amount that you pay to JPS is the larger your GCT, and as such, the larger the GCT, the reduction would be more meaningful to that consumer. So it begs the question as to whether this measure is really aimed at helping those who are large consumers of JPS on a monthly basis.
Kerry Simpson, TVJ News.
The Jamaica Labour Party says last Friday's by-election was a teachable moment. Chairman of the party, Robert Montague, made the remark at the JLP's conference on Sunday. Although retaining Trelawny's Southern and St. Andrew Northwestern seats, the PNP won the Morants Bay and Annan Town divisions.
Number 1, we must pay more attention to the poor and vulnerable, to the people's agenda, to cost of living, to roads, to light, water and housing. Lesson number 2, we must help more people to start small businesses or expand, and we must grow our footprint in the digital economy. And lesson number 3, we must take more care of our party workers.
He says the party will be consulting with delegates and supporters over the next few weeks.
So tell such man from such place that we are in no rush for any election. Dr. Holness will call it when Dr. Holness is ready.
So all them attack, man a step up, shut them up, play man a pep. When the star boy
we have things to do, and we are doing them according to our timetable. In St. Mary and elsewhere, We have water projects to finish and road work to start. The people of Masonall and Kidland and other communities across Jamaica are looking out for their water before the end of the year.
Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton continues to defend the increase in the country's health budget. In 2016, the health budget moved from 60 billion Jamaican dollars to 140 billion Jamaican dollars. A move Dr. Tufton says was necessary.
Is that we will have some 30 brand new operating theaters between all those hospitals with all new equipment. It will mean over 500 new beds for patients who are waiting and can't get a bed, added to the stock of beds in the public health system. It will mean all new equipment, MRI machines, X-rays, CT scans, and a more spacious environment for the patients and staff working in public health.
Jamaica's crime rate continues to trend downwards. Data from the Jamaica Constabulary Force shows that up to November 16, there were 995 murders compared to 1,244 in the corresponding period last year. St. James, despite a reduction of 54 murders this period, continues to lead the country in homicides with 116. The St. Andrews South Division has 99, while Westmoreland recorded 90 murders. However, 4 parishes are reported increases in murders. St. Andrews Central sees an increase of 19 murders, Manchester 6, St. Andrew North 4, and St. Elizabeth 1. At the JLP's annual conference on Sunday, no mention was made of the crimes or strategies. Jermaine Barrett is a political commentator.
The Prime Minister has a whole range of things that he could have spoken about. Crime is, of course, an important factor, but the trends are that crime is tending downwards. And, the reality, though, is that most Jamaicans aren't really recognizing or appreciating the downward trend in crime. So maybe there's more that could be done, but I'm generally satisfied that with the fiscal space that the government has at its disposal, that it has put together a decent package that hopefully will make the lives of Jamaicans much better.
The Jamaica Civil Service Association says more consultation among stakeholder groups is needed to effectively address climate change in the workplace. The JSCA says discussions are already taking place on the issue. One of the areas being looked at is clothing for workers that may not be suitable for the change in temperatures.
We have persons who work in the postal service and they still have to deliver mails at home. They not have no straw hat and the same white top and black bottom. And they have to do their own thing. Some of them dress in the long thing, like they're divers. I don't know where them get the clothing from, but I'm just saying these are some of the things that we are now looking into in terms of our collective bargaining agreement.
Ms. Powell was addressing a JCSA's function in Manchester recently. She also expressed concern about the way in which civil servants are being treated when carrying out their duties.
When we talk about adaptability, there's also an expectation that whatever changes come your way, you should just take it on and just move with the flow. And the union is saying it's not that easy. There must be consultation when we're having any changes that will impact your work.
It's time for a break. Stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. Despite increased efforts by the government to roll out more JTC buses across the corporate area in St. Catherine, commuters in Spanish Town are still experiencing long delays. They told TVJ News that in some instances, especially after the peak morning traffic, they have to wait hours to get a bus. The commuters believe routes like Portmore are getting more attention, while Spanish Town is seemingly neglected.
Recently, I went over by Portmore, and the way I see Portmore bus park, it was rammed with bus, and I saw a bus on that route regularly. I've seen it here. Okay. Yeah, even if all right. Where I live, bypass to Spanish Town, and if you go there and say you wait for one bus, you have hell out there. You wait how long before you can get a vehicle.
22 come in one time. And when the one come in and load the car, it's still there.
But I don't regularly take the buses, But since this is the second time I came here, and I had was to wait a long time, over 2 hours before I got something just right now. The first time I waited over 2 hours.
To address the chronic shortage of buses, Transport Minister Darl Vaz had indicated that over 100 buses will be added to the JTC fleet in 2025. It follows an increase in the daily bus availability to 260 since the start of the year. A desperate search is ongoing for 15-year-old Georgiana Bramwell, who has been missing since Wednesday. Georgiana, who is also autistic, is from Spice Grove in Manchester. So far, residents, family members, the police and firefighters have been searching the area, extending to Pepper in neighboring St. Elizabeth.
She was wearing a pink blouse, brown slippers, blue and white jeans pants. Anyone seen her? I'm begging and pleading. Please return her to her mom, her dad, and her brothers and other family members. I beg of you.
We just want to say we are going to be asking of the police, see if you can dispatch the K9 unit so that the dogs can follow a scent and be able to make the search more effective. We are appealing also to the Jamaica Defense Force. Whatever you can do to aid in the search of this young lady, we would like all hands on board so that this search can be effective.
Anyone with information on Georgiana's whereabouts can call her mother at 876-787-3378, the Manchester Police, or 119. It's now time for the Business Minute.
Real value added for the agriculture industry contracted by 13.5%, reflecting the adverse impact from Hurricane Beryl and other hydrological events on agricultural infrastructure, crops, and livestock. According to the Planning Institute of Jamaica (PIOJ), other agricultural crops was estimated to have declined by 12.9%, reflecting lower production in 8 of the 9 crop groups. The largest decreases were recorded for cereals, down 33.4%, condiments down 21.8%, vegetables down 17.3%, and fruits down 16.6%.
Lower output was recorded for traditional export crops, which decreased by 15%. Largely reflecting contractions in the production of banana, down 18.7%, coffee, down 70.4%, and cocoa, down 74.2%. This was sufficient to outweigh increased production of sugar, totaling 11,671 tons, relative to no production in the corresponding quarter of 2023. Animal farming was estimated to have increased by 1.
Further afield, United Parcel Service, UPS, has reached a settlement with the federal government for overestimating the value of its freight division. UPS will pay $45 million to settle the charges brought by the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. Now, the SEC accused the company of misrepresenting its earnings. UPS relied on an outside consultant that determined the freight unit was worth about $2 billion, 3 times as much as what the Atlanta-based company had initially determined. For the Business Minute, I'm Shane Masters.
Time now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, the United Nations Children's Fund UNICEF says the number of children being recruited into armed gangs across Haiti has increased by 70% over the past year. It said the unprecedented spike also reveals the alarming deterioration of child protection amid escalating violence in the Caribbean nation. According to the latest estimates, children now comprise up to half of all armed group members, with recruitment driven by widespread poverty, lack of education, and collapse of essential services. In response to the protection crisis facing children, UNICEF has implemented several initiatives including training security forces and civil society organizations on child protection measures. On the international scene, a massive fire tore through a coastal shanty town in the Philippine capital on Sunday, leaving at least 2,000 families homeless as flames billowed for nearly 4 hours. More than 1,000 houses were destroyed and roughly 8,000 people displaced. And at least one person has died and 3 others have been injured after a cargo plane crashed near Vilnius airport in Lithuania in the early hours of Monday. The Boeing 737, operated by DHL by the Spanish cargo airline Swift Air, crashed near a house as it was on its final approach for landing. The cause of the fire is unknown and Lithuanian authorities have started an investigation. And those are the top regional and international stories. I'm Carrie Simpson.
We take another break. Sports is next.